Tom?
Fuck yeah, I did. Man, that's what I call a ride.
And what would you want to tell the people now?
Oh, damn. I'm ZTOTV and you're watching... Oh, fuck, I'm not ZTOTV. I'm Ken Newman, you're watching ZTOTV.
The last round of
Horror Show.
Welcome to the Last Roundup Horror Show. I'm Frank, this is Jason, and that is Jared. We've got 3 more movies for you. Up first, we're going to talk about Pieces from 1982. The summary: young co-eds are being dismembered by a mysterious murderer on college campus. The killer is attempting to put together a human jigsaw puzzle made from body parts. Written by Dick Randall and Roberto Loyola. Man, these names. Directed by Juan Piquer Simon.
Sure.
Yeah. Jason forgot his notes, so he doesn't have...
The tagline is...
He can't back me up on these things.
It's exactly what you think it is.
I think it was... you don't have to go to Texas for a chainsaw massacre.
That's another one. Or is that another movie?
Is that this movie? I think this was this
I think I seen something.
It sounds familiar.
The one on the box says it's exactly what you think it is.
It is, too.
It is what you think it is.
Yeah.
Has one of the most memorable opening sequences. That's the only thing I really remembered from this movie was that. Little boy.
That mom's not nice.
No, but he does hacker. I love the special effects in this beginning part. There's some questionable things, but I love it. I love how it seems, everything about it. The Italian,
Spanish.
Is that what it is?
Spanish.
I thought it was shot in Madrid or something like that. I don't know.
Do they speak Spanish?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Jared, chime in on this.
It's Spain, right?
It's a Spanish movie.
Is in Spain.
Madrid
right?
is in Spain.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
I guess it's not Italian. I was comparing it to.
Yeah, lots of people say Italian, but it's not. And since we're on that, I did get the Grindhouse releasing on the Blu-ray, and that's one of the special features is the original Spanish audio, and in my head I was thinking that once I was listening to the Spanish audio and watching the video that it would be synced up. It's not, because they still go back and dub everything. They don't. I don't know. That seems to be a trend with foreign movies. They like to go back and dub it. Like, I don't know if they don't know how to work a boom mic or what, but they go back and do everything
Yeah,
again.
I figured it seemed like some of them could speak the lines, but they just weren't saying them clearly, and they were sharpening that up.
You watched it in English.
In English,
audio,
yeah,
right?
but some of them just seemed like if you were hearing what they were saying, maybe they were trying to say the English words, but they just weren't linking up at all.
You talking about syncing up?
Syncing up, yeah.
And then also the things that they say in English is there's a lot of things like completely different. Like when they're talking about it's been a while since I've watched it with the English audio, but like when they're talking about the water bed in the gym and where the pectoral muscles are,
right.
like those lines right there, those are like completely different when it,
right. Yeah, I was that's one of the lines that I mentioned here. The one girl says the most beautiful thing in the world is smoking pot and having sex on a waterbed at the same time.
She's not far off.
But I don't know. Waterbed sex seems like it's you don't have any footing.
It's nice when you're on the bottom.
That's the only way they would work because
the sides pop up around you,
okay,
so it's
there you
even
go.
better for them.
There you go.
But let's stay on.
Yeah. Well, that's one of my points. I was like, these teens in this movie are delusional as fuck because they mentioned that, and then one of the girls wants to have sex underwater, and that's just horrible. I don't know. But besides the point, the soundtrack reminds me a lot of the Dawn of the Dead soundtrack. The way that it's like back and forth between like some droning bass type of stuff, and then like some upbeat kind of like I'm shopping at the mall.
What'd you think of that? Because I liked it.
I liked
the
lot.
soundtrack to this a lot.
I liked it.
Then again with the Grindhouse releasing, you get the soundtrack on CD.
Yeah, I was trying to. I looked it up. It was. I don't know if I wrote down who they labeled themselves as. But it was a group of people that combined put this album together.
This is the longest I've ever heard anyone talk about this movie without bringing up the ninja.
Hey, Miss Riggs,
Kendall?
what happened here?
Well, he jumped me. There he is.
Oh, hey, it's my kung fu professor. What's the story, Chow?
Oh, I am out jogging, and next thing I know, I am on ground. Something I eat. Bad chop suey. So long.
Take it easy.
Yeah, that is weird, but the reason that you know why that happened, the dude that directed it was working on kung fu movies, and he just kind of inserted that dude in because he was like, I think his name's Bruce Lee, L-E, not L-E-E.
Bruce Lee?
No, it wasn't Bruce Lee. He was the guy that stood in for Bruce Lee.
Gotcha.
So that's how he got in there. And
Yeah, this is just the first time that within like the first minute it's like,
well,
and what's with the ninja?
But the things that I noticed. Did you notice Bluto from the Popeye movie was the groundskeeper?
No, I did. There were people. There were people that looked familiar.
Yeah, I was like, who the fuck is that? And then I was like, wait a minute, that's fucking Bluto.
Some people from Slugs in it.
The main, I don't know about that.
Been a long
the
time
main,
since I watched Slugs.
I think the main detective guy. I think he's in a couple Argento movies. Do you want to mention the bugs now before people think we're nuts?
For anybody that's watching the video, you're gonna think we're having like little crackhead moments or something, but bugs are literally flying in our noses and shit. So.
And it's hot here.
Yeah, it's
a
hot.
freaking sauna. We got bugs going. This is a different environment.
It's gonna be a weird show. Let's see. The killer ended up being, spoiler alert, the dean of the school. And the thing that I laughed at so many things in this, like he hides from the cops behind a curtain at one point. I was thinking, how the fuck did he become the dean of a school if he's spending all his time killing people for a weird puzzle project?
The cops are very bright. First of all, why do you have to get, like, you got a college student to be like one of the lead investigators. Yeah. Then you bring in a tennis pro to go undercover at the school. Like, what police? what are they doing over there in Spain?
Yeah.
All of this is why the movie is so good.
Yeah.
No, the movie's great, I thought, all the way up till the end. And I just have a question for you guys. Why do you suppose they had that jigsaw puzzle corpse come to life and tear the dude's dick and balls off?
Yeah, I have no.
That's like too much hot fudge on your hot fudge
Well,
sundae.
that goes into like a taking a supernatural turn. The last 2 seconds of the movie.
I think they did it because it was right.
I mean, it was a good scene. It's
like I would, if I wrote that movie like that, if I ended up with a movie all the way up to the end, and I was like, what's the right way to end this?
Blow it out the ass.
It's like
just blow it out the ass.
That's the right way to end it.
The corpse coming out of the hidden door or whatever. It don't matter how many times I watch that like always takes me back for a second.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, now I remember that.
Yeah, I thought it was a really solid movie all the way up until that questionable end. I mean, it wasn't as bad as a big.
You can't question that.
It wasn't as bad.
You can't question that.
Oh, it
part.
wasn't. It wasn't. It might as well have been an after credits.
I thought it fit better than the ninja.
Right. Yeah, the ninja was. Yeah. And I'm not going to give it the dark song treatment because I liked it too much to do that. I'm not going to drop it all the way down for that weird shit.
But yeah, I in my opinion, all this weird, all the ridiculous stuff. It's why the movie works. Like if you would have made this same movie, but you really tightened up the script. And
had people, if you had actors that were saying the lines, I think that
it would
the dub is a good. I love it. It's a good quality for a movie. It sounds weird, but it reminds me of like Fulci and shit like that. Like they always had the dubs.
Yeah, it's like sometimes when you hear a band where the recording is terrible, but it really works with what they're doing.
Yeah,
it adds to the ambiance. It's the correct. Mismatched dubs is the correct aesthetic for this
that's what
movie.
we're looking for here. I gave this an 8 out of 10, gentlemen.
Right on to you.
No, you go, Jared.
Oh, yes, I agree with Franklin. As far as trash slasher, just ridiculous bad movies.
And the endless supply of yellow chainsaws.
Yeah, just didn't one guy that wasn't the killer just attack the cop for no reason, like he was the killer? didn't that happen?
Yeah.
So
they call the guy over. Do you think this chainsaw was used on this victim?
Well, yes,
it's sawed up.
it's right here.
I do.
But yeah, I mean, it's a really badly made movie, but for like when you're talking trash,
it's good.
And
I think it gets better every time you watch it too.
Yeah, just garbage exploitation for the fun of it, ridiculousness. This is one of the top ones. This is one I remember from when I was a kid too, and yeah, I give it an 8.
I'm right there with you guys. I scored it an 8 as well.
You know what that means, guys.
That's
you got some bells and whistles going on. Yeah, no. Lots of blood, good amount of gore. It's good. It's a cheese fest. Another slasher you don't want to take too serious. If you're taking this movie serious, you're not gonna like it at all. I recommend buying it. The Grindhouse releasing. Well, it's kind of expensive now, but if you like this movie, that's a great release. I would recommend picking that up. But yeah, give it an 8.
Yeah, and if you're interested in soundtracks and vinyl and all that shit, I saw a pretty cool release of this soundtrack on vinyl. Definitely worth looking into that. I'm sure.
Did not see this one becoming certified.
Yeah,
I was.
I
surprised
kind of
on
did.
that.
Great. I mean,
kind of did.
Yeah, this is it's got a pretty big following.
Yeah, I didn't expect you enjoying all the cheese because
I bought it. I mean, I paid up for this Blu-ray.
I didn't know. I thought this was Frank's pick.
Yeah, I didn't catch this one right when it came out because like the first so many. Maybe if you had it pre-ordered, it came with a puzzle of that chick. I didn't get that one, but still, it's a great release. I paid up for it.
There you go, certified,
certifiable.
Watch it.
All right, up next, Jared's got a little interview. What's going on, man?
Going to be talking to Mer Whinery.
Due to an unfortunate scheduling conflict, the Reading Rainbow of Death interview with writer Mer Whinery had to be rescheduled for a later date. Stay tuned for more information.
Let's go on to our next movie, guys.
Let's.
This is Jared's pick, The Hills Run Red from 2009. A group of young horror fans go searching for a film that mysteriously vanished years ago, but instead find that the demented killer from the movie is real, and he's thrilled to meet fans who will die gruesomely for his art. Written by David J. Shaw, who wrote The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Critters 3, and 4, and an upcoming movie called Splatterpunk that I'm gonna be looking into that.
Did not know he wrote Chainsaw.
Yeah,
4? You said
3.
4 or 3?
Leatherface.
3?
And also written by John Dombrow, who mostly wrote video games, it seems, most notably Mass Effect 3 and some of the Bioshock games. Directed by Dave Parker, who directed The Dead Hate the Living, that classic.
Heyo. Same director? He stepped up.
Yeah.
Man. This is a big time compared to that one.
I waited too late on this. Had to watch it on a funky, weird website that really gave my virus protection software a run for its money. I assume if my virus protection made a sound, it would have sounded like an outboard motor because there was a lot of pop-ups and shit. Immediately, the thing that hits me is this guy's girlfriend, Serena, is my least favorite person in the whole fucking movie. The thing that catches me on the wrong note is that she fucks his best friend and then gets all shitty with him when he's helping a heroin addict get over her fucking junk, man.
You spent the night with a pretty blonde.
Which, if you want to see Sophia, is it Sophie Monk? If you want to see Sophie Monk naked, she's in it naked most of the time.
A lot, yeah. Overall, I don't. It's not I mean, taking out the bad guys in it, the main cast of. Yeah, it's not really a likable cast.
No,
I'm guessing that was somewhat on purpose.
Very small I kept worrying, where's all the body count going to come from? But there's really not that many.
There's not, but it's not. I guess I never noticed it the first couple times I watched it. It's a small body count, but a lot of blood.
Don't get me wrong. This movie, through most of it, I'm like, this seems a little derivative. But evidently, the original the original script had a lot of like direct references to horror movies. Like, there's a lot of stuff.
I can see that.
But it was even more so in the
being a movie
the original.
that does that.
I want to call bullshit on the technology that this dude uses, because I got a camera like he uses, like right there. That camcorder right there. This dude's in the woods. There's campfires. There's fucking no way, man. No way that camera. You need lights. You need lights like this to get anything good. And there's one point where he's reviewing footage through headphones, and he thinks he hears something through the camera. And most certainly that camera does not amplify sound in any circumstance. But regardless, I just wanted to talk about that. Other issues I have with the camera are... I had a lot of issues with the camera, to be honest.
You're reviewing the camera?
No, I'm reviewing the way that they kept showing it. Like,
I'm reviewing the way they portrayed his camera in the movie.
Well,
it was not a believable character.
This is the thing that stood out to me the most. They show a lot of, like, you're watching the video from his camera kind of circumstances, and up in the corner there's a little SP. Now that stands for standard play. That's like some VHS shit. It wouldn't say that on a digital camera. I don't know. It's stupid. It's pointless. I think the movie is put together well, but they really chop and screw it at the end. They really do a lot of fucking shit.
The ending fell really flat for me.
It seemed like they were trying to cram too much shit in there. The twist of the movie is that the Alexa, the daughter of this filmmaker.
Let me stop you right there.
Yes. Here, we'll tell you what happened.
No, Jared. I want something different. I have a Amazon Dot sitting next to me, and every freaking time they said Alexa, this thing would light up and start giving me. I'm sorry, I can't find that answer. Anyway, go ahead.
So here, before we go into details, this dude, he hears about this movie from the 80s that supposedly people walked out on, and it got pulled from the theaters immediately because it was so horrific. And it's been kind of a legend after that. The only thing left is a trailer. He's out to make a documentary and find this movie. They hunt down the daughter, who's one of the stars of the movie.
Alexa Concannon.
She's British, by the way.
Well, she was born in Britain, and then her whole career is in Australia.
Oh, so yeah. I listened to the accent.
They hunt her down, and hoping that she was the daughter of the director of the movie, and they hope that she'll have some kind of tie or lead them to this movie. That's what Frank was talking about. She's a junkie stripper when they find him.
Yeah, and the director's name is Concannon, and he's played by William Sadler, who played the Grim Reaper in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. I want everybody to know that. That's the highlight. I didn't know that shit. And he's in Demon Knight too. But.
So they get her. They go out into the woods. She's leading them to her father's old place because he kept his movies there. And when they finally start getting into the woods, you find out that her and the killer from the original movie, although that's a little weird. It was a couple different people.
Yeah, it gets real nasty at the end.
You find out that the movie was real. They're actually just killing people. The new baby face, which is the killer from the movie, is her son. And it's
with her father.
Yes, with her father, and they're pretty much just a family of crazy people, killing people and videotaping it for art to make a movie.
Yeah, I would make this real simple and say it's kind of if you take Texas Chainsaw and made it with Behind the Mask.
Yeah,
The Rise and Fall of Leslie Vernon.
Yeah,
like,
but the twist
kind of
is you find out there's a couple twists. The one twist is you find out the daughter was in on it and leading them there to continue the movie. Then you find out that the baby face, which is the killer, is actually her son, and they just kind of go crazy. Yeah, there's not a real high body count. A lot of the gore comes from getting to see footage from the original movie, which I will say, one of my favorite kill scenes in a slasher movie is in this movie. In the movie.
With the horrible CGI?
Yes.
Where the body explodes?
For the most part, it's practical effects, but when the CG's there, you're like, yeah.
But they they have a lady tied. They have a tree branch pulled down, and she's hooked on her shoulders and kind of tied up on her arms, and her legs are tied to the ground. And he cuts the rope, and the tree limb flips up.
Just
and
a
it rips her in
spoilers,
half.
all kinds of spoilers from Jared tonight on this one.
Well, aren't they all spoilers?
I thought that's what
I'm
we
just
did.
saying.
It's one of my.
He barely said anything about In Pieces. He's over there
It's
explaining the whole movie right now.
This is Frank was getting into the twists
It's
and
fine.
hadn't told
Yeah, I
anybody.
realized that I hadn't told anybody what happens, but
yeah, that's one of my favorite kill scenes in the movie. And then it's just they kind of torture and kill these people.
and almost
then, you know,
there was a rape scene that was cut out of this, like a full blown. You remember that part where Babyface has the one girl?
Well, I think he was getting ready to,
Yeah.
and they called him.
They had
called him in
filmed
there.
that, and then
Well, they filmed it.
There was also another scene where Babyface. I hate calling him that because I always
What?
think of that. R-
Yeah, because
R&B singer.
at the end she's pregnant, but they never showed him.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I read that there was an after credits scene, but I wasn't going back to that website to dig through that.
yeah, the after credits scene is the two girls, and the brown haired girl is pregnant, and the blonde girl.
But they
is-
never showed Babyface actually having
Yeah.
sex with her.
Well,
But and in that is one of my other one of the other. Probably the only really creepy part of the movie. I thought it's where that's the one place where Babyface was really cool. She's singing to him when he's in
why
her
is he?
face.
Why does he talk?
and it's
because
like,
And
he's
it's
not-
very clear. It's like not messed up or nothing.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's-
could go ahead and sing if it makes you feel
It's-
better.
it's
like
because-
a businessman.
I
Like,
thought
and they
maybe
tell you
the
about
dad
him.
put
Yeah,
on
like
the mask.
he's not, and that's what they show footage through the movie of a kid cutting his face off.
Right.
But they lead you to believe he's this big hulking dummy, but he's not.
Inbred.
Yeah,
he's inbred. So you just assume that something's wrong with
But
him.
he's not, and there's not.
Yeah,
really
he says
just,
one line and it's
he
clear and normal.
cut his face off, but she's singing like the singing is calming him and going to get her out of getting killed. And when he leans in with the mask on and says, "You can keep singing if you want, or if it makes you feel better, whatever." Like, I thought that was the one genuinely creepy-ish part of the movie. I always liked that part too.
Yeah, there was a couple scenes they cut out. One was just the full-fledged raping of that girl, and then the other one was when Babyface kills William Sadler's character. They had him originally beat him to death in the face with an 8mm camera, so that was a little different. I thought this movie was all right. I thought William Sadler was the best part of the movie, and I could have used a lot more of him all throughout this because he's great in everything. Fucking Die Hard 2, all that shit. I think there was too much exposition up front. They could have split it in half a little better. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
I actually thought, what's the blonde girl's name?
Sophie Monk.
Sure. No, I thought she was pretty good, along with Sadler. This definitely suffered a little bit from not the body count, not the kills. It does a lot of flashbacks, bouncing back and forth.
You see the same one twice, or
Yeah,
See a few of them a few times.
like it seemed like every time I would, I'd be getting into the movie, and then it would jump back to just something that just kind of took me out of that moment. The ending was, I thought that it almost felt like it just came really fast, and it didn't pay off for me. It felt really flat. The Babyface character, I didn't like the mask at first, but it kind of grew on me by the end of it.
I liked the little beads that he rattled around in his hand. That's a cool feature, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good. I would probably say 6.
Yeah, I'm not far off. A lot of the faults of this movie don't bother
I want to
me.
go back. You were talking about something different about the lights of that guy's camera.
Yeah.
But this is lit really well. Like the outside shots, like in the woods and around the barns and stuff, looks really cool. It looks like a good. It looks like a slasher. Like it feels good. But
Yeah, the faults of this movie, which I don't disagree with anything you guys said about it. They don't hurt it as much for me.
I want to interrupt you again. It has like really good sets. Like the sets look good and everything. Like
Yeah.
it's shot well. It looks really good. It's just they didn't quite pull it off. I think this could easily have a part 2 to it, and I would say maybe this time not focus on the characters that no one really likes to begin with, and no love triangles going on, and just get to the freaking killing it. It'd be a good movie.
Yeah. Apart from the low body count, the faults with it are what you guys saying are. I'm not going to be able to say it. I can't. I can't get it out.
You can't articulate it?
No, it's something keeps happening every time I go to talk. I get cut off. You got to do
Cut
this.
off, Jason.
You got to do that. All right, here we go. I'm jumping in. The faults with this movie don't really hurt it for me, other than the low body count is what could have made it be better. A lot of the problems with this movie are standard problems that you find in most kind of slasher, that whole genre. Go ahead. All right.
Go ahead, Jared.
And since it's about a slasher movie and itself has all the typical problems you find in a slasher movie, it fits for me instead of working against it as a meta feel. Like
it's an easy watch for sure.
It's aware of itself. A higher body count, I would score it higher. I gave it a 7, but if we did half ratings, I'd probably do a 6.5. But I think it's better than a 6, so I'll give it a 6.
I just want to say also, this was 2009, so that's definitely not a year of the slasher.
No.
So had this been an earlier movie, and even one that we had seen growing up, we would probably have a much higher rater.
Much higher rating.
The rater would be high,
and that's one of the.
He's combining.
It'd be a higher rater.
Rating and rater.
A much higher rating.
I think one of the things that I was fond of this movie when I picked it up is because it came out in a time where slashers pretty much just kind of felt, and
there wasn't a lot of coming out.
And for as in your face as this is a slasher movie as it is, being even about a slasher movie, it has. At the time I watched it anyways, it had somewhat of a fresh feel to it. It was a bit of a breath of fresh air in a genre that wasn't doing much and stuff wasn't happening in. To have something good, just at the time, just good felt like, yes. So I give it a 7.
All right, well, let's get into this third and final review. This is my pick, Bad Taste from 1987.
Peter Jackson. Yay!
The population of a small town disappears and is replaced by aliens that chase human flesh for their intergalactic fast food chain. Written and directed by Peter Jackson, with some additional writing from his friends Tony Hiles, who plays the zookeeper in Dead Alive. Everybody remembers that. And Ken Hammond, who played a featured party zombie in Dead Alive. This is basically Peter Jackson just doing everything.
Yeah, how many characters does he play?
At least,
I know two right now.
Definitely, but I'm thinking like 3 or 4 because he does.
I know. Yeah, he's got to do one.
He does a voice of the
one of the bad guys.
Yeah. I've seen this movie so many fucking times, and I never once think that I realized they were going to Earth to get people for fast food.
Yeah.
Because that part where they're explaining that exposition in the house, I'm pretty sure that's always when I go get snacks, because that's the slower part of the movie. After that, it ramps back up again. I think we can all agree that Derek is the best character, which is played by Peter Jackson.
Derek's don't run.
Derek's don't run. Now, can you do an accent? Can you do the accent?
New Zealand? No.
Kiwi? That's what they call that accent. Derek.
I just know I'm a Derek. Derek's don't run.
Yeah.
Is one of the best lines of it.
And he plays that one zombie, what the fuck was his name? Robert. And they look like 2 different fucking people, man. Yep. When you guys watch these old Peter Jackson movies, do you notice similarities between Lord of the Rings and this stuff?
No,
not at all. But there's definitely a similarity between this.
Dead Alive.
Brain Dead.
There's several movies that they did in between.
Yeah, I've never watched The Frighteners. I've heard that one's really good.
There was Brain Dead. There's a Brain Damage.
Both, isn't it?
I only know Dead Alive.
It's Dead Alive.
Yeah.
But
trying to be cool.
No,
using
that's the copy that I have, but I can't remember if it's.
I think it's Brain Dead, but I could be wrong.
I think it's Dead.
One of my favorite things about these aliens, for once, they're just dumb as fuck. Aliens are never just stupid. Hardly ever. They're just dumb as fuck.
Yeah,
Peter Jackson's character slits his own throat at one point.
I always felt like the head corporate guys from Abe's Odyssey.
Oh yeah, very similar.
Were based off Peter Jackson's Bad Taste. I feel like someone making that video game watched Bad Taste and was like, let's make this a family-friendly video game. Because it is pretty much the same concept, except instead of humans, it's Abe's race of people.
You got to give Peter Jackson a lot of credit for the fight scene between Derek and Robert that happens on the cliffside.
Where you see the safety guys in the shot on the side of the mountain.
Well, the thing about it is that footage was shot months apart, so he had to edit that to get. And it's him fighting himself. So
I've read that they only filmed this on Sundays
for 2 years,
which is why it took so long to get done.
Yeah, and one of the guys, it took so long to film this that one of the guys got married, then was taken out of the film because his wife didn't want him working on Sundays. And then divorced his wife and came back. So, the choice to bring Derek back from the brink of death and have him belt his head shut is one of the best things I've ever. I mean, really, he just really is great after that. But should we explain? Jared, explain the movie. Do it again for me. What happens?
Aliens come down to get people as fast food, and
then there's a team of what do you call them? What would you call the guys? The government? Are they government?
I guess. I mean,
it's just guys fighting aliens, basically.
Yeah. And then some New Zealanders fight the aliens to not get turned into fast food.
Peter Jackson made all of those masks in his mother's oven, so that's a fun little.
And they're round, so they can fit in the oven.
Yeah, I love that they made the house the alien ship at the end too. The end's just the best shit ever, man. When the dude's just firing off rockets at the house, and it's just a big ramped up action scene of flipping through gardens. It's good stuff. It's wonderful, campy fun. I give this an 8 out of 10. I don't know why I don't give it a 10 out of 10, but Dead Alive's a 10 out of 10, right?
Yeah.
Is Bad Taste a 10 out of 10? I don't think so. I don't think so. It needs more. It needs more to it. There needs to be more substance.
I give this one a 7. It's all the great stuff. Is all the great stuff Peter Jackson does, and even a bit more ramped up ridiculousness, I think, than any.
Dead Alive?
Yeah. Just at least in the concept. Maybe not individual scenes, but I mean, it's aliens turning people into fast food. Everything like. No, you disagree?
There's no way this is more ramped up than not even close.
Not as a movie in ridiculousness.
There's a zombie that has sex with another zombie.
Just go ahead. I don't want to interrupt. I don't want to interrupt you.
We can't go to Dead Alive.
Yeah, maybe. Well, and I'm thinking about Derek, belting his head back together, but maybe it's just within the context of the movie. It feels like the zombies having sex and having a baby in Dead Alive. That feels like. Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
a bit more than.
I mean, Derek does fall off a cliffside, land on some seagulls, basically die, wake up, but kicks one in the head.
Regardless of if it's ramped up or not, it's early crazy Peter Jackson craziness, lots of blood, Peter Jackson style blood, and it's one of his first. I
think it's his second movie.
Okay, it's early. Having seen Dead Alive and his other stuff, he obviously didn't have all his chops together yet. He was still
Meet the Feebles was the only movie before this.
Yeah, I mean, watching this, you clearly know it was an early movie for a director, and I kind of, you can feel that. plenty of stuff to change in this movie.
It's just
I think.
fucking crazy that he went on to direct all this, like King Kong and fucking.
But yeah, it's hilarious. It's a fun time. I give it a 7.
Yeah. So it's a pretty boring movie for me. It's nice to see kind of where he got started, and you can see how this led into Dead Alive. But I think there's just so many things wrong with this movie. And again, I don't want to really fault him too much because only filming on Sundays.
Yeah,
it was him and a group of friends doing something they like.
Super low.
That's
budget.
cool and all, but that doesn't make the movie better. Like there's just so much wrong with this movie.
Yeah, it's one of those movies where it's a super low budget that they swung for the fences. They did not have the budget to pull off what they actually were doing.
Yeah, you can see his style. It's all over the movie, but no, I found myself looking at the counter to see how much time was left on this movie. But there's definitely there's snippets of really not really good things, but
Fun
things
stuff
that I like, stuff that I can laugh at, like the alien that's puking in the bowl, and then they're all passing around. He ends up drinking seconds and stuff like that. There's good stuff throughout it, but I give it a 5.
That's not going to get recommended. Well, thanks for checking out the show, guys. Do you want to talk about anything at the end here? You want to promote the Bones album? You should probably promote the Bones album, right?
I'm going to do that in the next one. That's
okay.
fine.
You don't know nothing about it yet.
It's probably, by the time this airs, is it out?
No, it'll be coming up on
Okay.
June 1st, right? It's the release.
Yeah, June 1st is the release.
Secrets will come.
Yeah, the next reading Rainbow of Death, instead of getting an author, I'm just going to shill. Because this is it's probably as close as I've ever going to get to getting to do horror, like writing horror. I've always wanted to write a book. It's probably not going to happen. This is as close as I get. I got to work with authors and I got to tell a story. So I'm going to shill for it in the next one, and then in the interview after, I'm going to have another conversation with Rab. We're just going to talk about the fun of making it, and it's a little early for repeat guests, but
what about Ray?
like I said, this is as close as I get to be in the into the horror novel world, and so I'm my show. I'm gonna celebrate it. So we'll talk about that next time.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.